Marc Richardson was dying. An assailant had just killed his wife Debra, and Marc knew he had but a few seconds left. "Why?" he asked the young man with the knife. "Because you treat your daughter like shit. She wanted it this way." The killer watched Marc draw his last breath. Then he went up the basement stairs to join Marc and Debra's daughter, Jasmine. They hugged and kissed, exchanging vows of eternal love. They were just like Mickey and Mallory, the heroes of their favorite movie, Natural Born Killers. Jasmine was 12. Her lover Jeremy was 23. They thought they'd live forever. Jasmine used to be your average girl. Pink was her favorite color. She loved unicorns. The goal was growing up in a happy, exemplary household from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Her father, Marc, was a technician in the oil and gas industry. A bear of a man, he was married to Debra, who was interested in Wicca and holistic practices. They also had a younger son, Tyler Jacob. Their neighbors described them as a family fit for a Norman Rockwell painting. At the age of 11, Jasmine started undergoing a drastic transformation. She was maturing early, and at the age of 12, she looked like a 15-year-old. But it was not only her looks that changed, it was her whole personality. She was known to be fun and social. A member of her Catholic school swim team, she was also doing great in the fine arts class. Simply put, she was a prize student. But by the end of the 6th grade, Jasmine was getting smart with her teachers, drawing distant from her classmates, and developing much darker tastes. Jasmine started listening to bands like The Misfits, Cradle of Filth, and Slipknot. She found that the goth subculture resonated with her. Of course, her outfits and makeup changed accordingly. No longer a role model student, she wore heavy makeup, fishnets, and black clothes at school, shocking her teachers. Jasmine got into blogging. She registered on MySpace, Nexopia, and VampireFreaks.com. Among her interests, she listed dark poetry, criminal psychology, blood, human anatomy, and kinky shit. On her MySpace profile, Jasmine was proud to announce that her heroes were Jeffrey Dahmer and Marilyn Manson. It was at a punk concert that she met Jeremy Steinke, a 23-year-old with a vial of blood on his neck. Jeremy's childhood wasn't as bright as Jasmine's. He lived in a trailer park with his mother, Jacqueline, who was an alcoholic. Her drinking problem was so severe she'd go on binges, leaving her small kid unattended for a week at a time. Later, it was speculated if Jeremy was suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome, a condition that causes brain damage and growth problems. The situation at school was hardly better. Jeremy wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed and was targeted by bullies. Jeremy Stinky, they called him. At 13, he was diagnosed with depression and ADHD to boot. His life was so miserable, he attempted to hang himself. Trying to escape the horrible reality, Jeremy turned to drugs and alcohol. Seething with teenage angst, he cut his arms, leaving multiple scars. At the age of 15, he got so drunk he blacked out in the cold and was hospitalized with hypothermia. He was smoking marijuana and drinking daily. He continuously said to me he wished he was dead, wished he was never born. At about 22, Steinke adopted a goth lifestyle. He started wearing makeup, fishnets on his arms, and neoprene face masks. He hung out at a local mall with kids much younger than him. They found Jeremy very chill, sweet, generous. Not only was he older, but he also told tall tales about being a 300-year-old werewolf and getting to love the taste of blood as early as 13. Preteen girls loved the mystery about him, and yeah, he had a car and could buy alcohol for them. Jasmine met Jeremy at a punk concert, and subsequently, they added each other on social media. On February 5, 2006, Jeremy asked her out, and very soon, they were actively dating. Their relationship thrived. Jeremy often called Jasmine to serenade her with the songs he wrote for her. I felt really flattered and loved. He was really romantic. He told me he loved me all the time. I was falling in love with him. Nobody seemed to approve of their relationship. Jeremy was not just twice her senior, Jasmine was underage, but the couple didn't seem to care. More than that, the hostility of their friends only made them grow closer together. It was them against the world, and they relished the feeling. Meanwhile, Jasmine's parents weren't ecstatic about the shift in their daughter's personality and the crowd she was hanging out with. She was getting phone calls from older guys, some as old as 19. Her grades were slipping too. Little did the parents know that Jasmine often sneaked out to see Jeremy. One night, Jasmine was supposed to babysit her brother Jacob, but instead, she slipped out to meet Jeremy at a gas station. Scared and alone, Jacob called his parents. Jasmine was grounded. She couldn't go out, but it wasn't the end of the world. She continued to communicate with Jeremy online. From Soul Eater to Runaway Devil. You're a sight for sore eyes, and I miss you more than killing people. Can we get together and kill people together? Wrote Jeremy. Jasmine's prompt reply was, From Runaway Devil to Soul Eater. Killing people sounds like fun, and yes we shall. I miss you too a large amount that cannot be contained in mere words. I love you. With Jasmine's odd behavior persisting, her parents looked into her internet activity. Shocked by her creepy pages and the subjects she discussed with people just as weird, they disconnected her PC from the web. To mend the growing rift between them, they turned to family counseling. It seemed to have worked. Feeling that their daughter was coming back to them, Marc and Debra decided to make a gesture of their goodwill. They allowed her to go to a concert. Marc and Debra were cool parents. They both rode bikes. They could understand their daughter's rebellious spirit. The thing was that they had to come along too. Sometime during the show, Marc and Debra lost sight of Jasmine. Soon, they found her in the venue's alley, kissing with a grown man. Of course, it was Jeremy. Spooked, he ran away, leaving his beloved in the hands of her fuming parents. Marc and Debra had had enough. They confiscated Jasmine's PC and her music, and she was stripped of all of her privileges. Still, Jasmine continued communicating with Jeremy using school library computers. Date March 20, 2006, From Runaway Devil to Soul Eater. So I have this plan. It begins with me killing them and ends with me living with you. So are we set? I'm going to try and call you, but I really don't know if I'll be able to. They're treating me like I hate them so much, but I hope this won't bring us far apart. I hope to talk to you soon. Love you with all of my heart. Date March 21, 2006, From Soul Eater to Runaway Devil. Well, I love your plan, but we need to get a little more creative with like details and stuff. I wish they wouldn't treat you that way. Grr, it angers me to hear that. I dislike them very much. Don't worry, I love you too, my sexy beast. I hope to hear from you soon. Take care, my love. You have the key to my heart, and soon enough, you shall have my heart if I die. Because if I give it to you now, I die, and you won't be able to hear how much I love you. Two goth lovebirds cooing, right? The sad truth is that both correspondents were dead serious about the murder part. Jasmine kept nagging Jeremy about their plan. Some witnesses claimed that she literally begged Jeremy to kill her parents. She kept repeating that she hated them, that she wanted them dead. Sadly, Jeremy's age didn't make him more mature than Jasmine. He bought into everything. On April 3, he posted a rambling poem on his blog. Payment. My lovers' rents are totally unfair. Their throats I want to slit. They will regret the they have done. Their blood shall be payment. On April 22, Jeremy was watching Natural Born Killers with a friend. In the movie, Mickey and Mallory kill Mallory's family but spare her little brother. Jeremy turned to his friend and said, that is where their story is different, since Jasmine is going to kill her brother. Since they were both high on drugs, Jeremy's friend thought he was joking, as usual. By that time, everybody had been used to these two going on about killing Jasmine's parents. Jeremy went as far as to ask several of his friends to help them do it, but he was just waved off as crazy Jeremy being himself. At 3 a.m., Jeremy goes to his drug dealer's house. He snorts 6 lines of coke and polishes it off with vodka and a vampire brand wine. Then, doped out of his mind, he proceeds to Jasmine's house. On his way, he stops to buy chewing gum. See, Jasmine didn't approve of him smelling of tobacco. At 4 a.m., Jeremy threw a pine cone in Jasmine's window to let her know he'd arrived. She went down and opened a basement window. While entering, Jeremy caused quite a ruckus, which woke up Debra. Thinking it was her daughter sneaking out again, Debra went down, clad in her nightgown. She was surprised to see a stranger in a neoprene face mask. The man was armed with a knife. With both parents dead, Jasmine and Jeremy went upstairs to kill Jasmine's 8-year-old brother Jacob. A Star Wars fan, the kid died protecting himself with his favorite lightsaber. Just like his dad, he fought to the very end. Having disposed of the bloody clothes and knives, they went to a party hosted by their friend Tyler Randallson in the evening. Jeremy wore dark glasses, but proudly demonstrated the fresh shiner he'd gotten in the fight with Marc. James Whaley, a friend of Jeremy's, remembered him bragging, "We killed my girlfriend's family last night. I gutted them like a fish." "My little brother gargled," Jasmine added. I honestly didn't believe him. I said, "Whatever you were on, you better give me some because it sounds like quite a trip." Earlier the same day, their horrid crime was discovered by a neighbor's kid. With nobody answering the door, the kid took a peek into the basement and recoiled in terror. At first, the police thought Jasmine Richardson had been abducted. They went to her school, where the school counselor produced a thick file on her. Surprised, the police officers went to check out her locker. A piece of paper fell out of her stash of papers. It was a comic Jasmine drew. It pictured her and Jeremy burning her family alive. Immediately, Jasmine turned from a possible abductee into the prime suspect. On March 24, just a day after, the couple was arrested in Leader, Saskatchewan, 81 miles from Medicine Hat. It turned out that their unsuspecting friends had taken them along on a road trip the night before. During the interrogation, Jasmine just cried. Only when a policeman started addressing her like her peer, Jasmine began to talk. She denied everything, blaming the murders on Jeremy. Finally, she admitted to choking and stabbing Jacob. However, she still insisted that it was Steinke who dealt her little brother the fatal wounds. On his part, Jeremy admitted to killing Marc and Debra Richardson, but he was adamant he didn't kill Jacob. He said he didn't want to murder her parents, but Jasmine asked him to, and he'd do anything for love. Also, he blamed it on drugs. He simply freaked out, he said. He was also taken somewhat aback by Jasmine's complete lack of grief or even sadness over her family's passing. All the while, Jeremy and Jasmine exchanged love notes, going as far as to brag about their crimes and agreeing to marry each other. "My lawyer tells me we're legends." Closer to immortality it would seem. "You said you want to get engaged? Then here's a cue. Will you marry me? If so, then it is a verbal agreement." I never thought I'd find myself hysterically laughing in a holding cell in these kinds of circumstances. Or ever, really. But still, you make me so happy. Yes, I will. I would love to. In their exchanges, Jasmine and Jeremy focused solely on their relationships and their predicament. Apparently, they saw it as only a temporary setback. But remorse? Not a glimpse. Of course, nobody confessed to pointing the finger at the other one. The accounts of Jeremy's friends revealed that he indeed had a mentality similar to that of a 15-year-old. With Jasmine developing faster than her peers, they were basically on the same level. Still, mental development aside, he was a grown man, totally accountable for his crimes. Unlike Jasmine, who was the one who got the idea of killing her parents and persisted with it. This is what she had to say in court. "In my group of friends, it was just the way we talked. It was just stupid talk. Every time I said that, I never meant it. I was angry. I didn't mean it. Everybody else knew I didn't mean it." On November 8, 2007, she was sentenced to the maximum 10-year sentence allowed by the Youth Criminal Justice Act. She served 4 years of her sentence in a psychiatric hospital and then was released back into society for 4.5 years of court-ordered supervision. As of now, Jasmine's record has been expunged, and she lives somewhere in Canada under a different name. Rumor has it that she's working with children. On December 15, 2008, Steinke got 3 life sentences, 1 for each first-degree murder. His defense lawyer, Alan Hepner, argued that Steinke was in an alcohol and drug-fueled haze when he did it, but Steinke had too big a mouth. He bragged too much, to his friends and to an undercover policeman he was riding with to one of the court hearings. "You ever watch the movie Natural Born Killers? I think that's the best love story of all time," he said to the policeman. He will be eligible for parole after serving 25 years. Did Jasmine even visit Jeremy in prison? Did she ever write to him? Or did the whole affair leave her system along with her teenage angst? Their love might have been as much a fantasy as Jeremy's tale of his shape-shifting nature, or Oliver Stone's movie, for that matter. What is very true and final, though, is the death of 3 innocents.